We are in Salt Lake City for Permissionless, and today I'm with Jack from Scale. Jack, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. Good to be here.
It's great to have you. For everyone watching that doesn't know what Scale is, give us a quick intro.
Yeah, so Scale is a blockchain built for mass consumer adoption. So it's a gasless, invisible blockchain, is what we like to say. It's built different per the brand tagline. We have about 5 million unique active wallets a month visiting the blockchain. There are around 50 to 60 million on-chain transactions per month on Scale, and we're typically number 6, 7, or 8 every single day in terms of all blockchains, and layer 2s in terms of wallets and transactions. And in part, that's because we really focus on gaming, Web3 AI, and other high throughput use cases like dPIN and Web3 social.
How did you come up with this idea?
So this was back in 2017. My co-founder and I had both had ideas of applications we could launch, and I frankly was running into scaling problems with Ethereum. Met my co-founder, who's a world-renowned cryptographer and physicist, and he's a long track record of research and doing work with cryptography. And he said, "Oh, hey, I've designed a scaling system for Ethereum, so I'm going to launch these 4 applications." And I was like, "Stan, maybe we should help people launch hundreds and thousands of applications and build this out as," we were calling it middleware then.
Yeah.
And so we really had a problem for ourselves, and so we designed Scale from the ground up to be the most optimal architecture. That's how we got started.
Oh, what was the most challenging part of it, like back then, like starting this?
Well, it's interesting. One of the most challenging parts has been there's just incredible groupthink in this space. And so there were a lot of people that said, hey, you either have to get out of Ethereum, get rid of Ethereum virtual machine, and like start your ETH killer layer 1. And so a lot of people did that. Then other people said, okay, let's do layer 2 for Ethereum. And we were a layer 2. But then layer 2 became either you had to be a specific type of rollup.
Yeah.
And we had a different method. And Scale actually has all the security baked into the ETH mainnet. So the token staking's there, the token lives there, all of these contracts live on Ethereum. But those contracts actually share security out to the Scale network, which is an independent network. So it's almost a hybrid layer 1, layer 2. And one of the most challenging parts was that the industry was like, couldn't understand nuance. And it's exciting because that's really changed now. I mean, I was just doing a talk on the main stage 2 hours ago, and because what we're doing all of a sudden is like really hot, but we have a massive head start on other people that are trying to do it. And 300 plus applications building on Scale and thousands of developers. So the hard part was just crypto narratives are really powerful.
Yeah.
And they're often wrong.
Like navigating the trends.
Yeah, the trends. And so like you have to be early. You either have to be like right on time with a trend and hope it's the right one. So before we were starting, there's this whole plasma trend, and everything was plasma, plasma, plasma. And we're like, no, we don't think that's going to work. And we got so much, pushback from people. And then all of a sudden everyone's like, okay, plasma doesn't work. And then later, like rollups came in the equation. We had a different angle on scaling Ethereum. And so these narratives are very powerful, but they're often wrong. And then it's also challenging if you're too far ahead of those narratives.
Yeah.
But we're really excited because we're here. The narrative's here for modularity, for shared security, for sharded blockchains with linear scalability, where you can add more nodes and effectively add more capacity. And so we're now, thankfully, really on trend. And I think this gasless narrative is going to become very on trend too.
So my background, like I studied at a fashion school, and one of the things that I tend to like translate to crypto is sort of like there's the trends and people that follow trends, and there's like the timeless fashion.
Yeah.
But anything that is built with this timeless sense in mind, obviously like tends to last. And I think the industry could benefit from having this long-term mindset more. I don't know if you agree with that.
No, I do. And I think there's certain properties from the, Web 2 internet and just the internet as we know it today, that doesn't include crypto, that are pretty timeless. So if you look at the way databases interact, there's not one database everyone shares. There's databases. Every company has their database. Every business has a database. And even within companies, they have lots of databases, and these loosely coupled databases can all talk and message to each other securely. Okay. Crypto is different because there's this concept of state and people wanting to make sure state is well understood. And so that, however, is not mutually exclusive with having lots of chains. So my co-founder, I also have to give him credit about this, that he saw a world that would have lots of blockchains talking to each other, just like we have lots of databases in the internet talking to each other. And people are like, no, there's just going to be one or two. There's Bitcoin, there's Ethereum, and then there'll just be these like vertically integrated off-chain scaling solutions on top of Ethereum, and we're not going to have any other chains. And we've found that like there's lots of blockchains now, and Scale itself has 18 blockchains all living, connecting, talking to each other instantly, messaging each other like traditional databases in a much more secure fashion, and with openness and transparency where it needs to be for the cryptography piece. But yeah, fashion I think is a really good example where you look at certain trends that may be really hot on a catwalk, but you're not going to see them actually in maybe in some high fashion, but is that going to go out to like H&M and these different like high distribution points, and the trends that kind of stay almost recycle, right? And the internet's the same way.
There's always like a natural evolution. So when in fashion, for example, like color could be one thing, like you going from black to brown, whatever. Not to go too deep on fashion here.
I think it's a good connection point for people that want to understand crypto.
Yeah.
Is these things are actually, there's
It's
a
a
lot of similarities.
cycle. Everything works in cycles, and it's you can't avoid it. What you can use trends for is to swing you forward. So more like in terms of marketing or positioning. Have you used any of the industry trends to sort of propel Scale forward?
Yeah, we have, and I think what I would say is one of our components is modularity. And modularity is something, imagine modularity is like vertical stripes or like pleats in a pants or something. Like it's a part of fashion, but then all of a sudden it comes out and then they're like, stripes now only are stripes if they are on a top that is like hemmed at this point. And crypto kind of tries to do that. Like modularity is this. And it's like modularity has existed in technology for a very long time as like a concept and a principle of like, bifurcating one piece from something else and to get all of these like similar values. And if you look at modularity in crypto, there's been this hot trend, but it's almost these terms often too even just get like, productized and these trends. And so, we're fortunate now, we just hired a really top tier CMO, and the trends, it's almost like we've been, like ahead in certain ways, and now it's coming, and we just have to, I think it's a great opportunity for us to show, hey, these trends are great, and we've been doing them for a long time, and we actually have results.
Yeah, it's great. And it's great when you're early on it, keeping it parallel with the fashion industry. So if you're early on the trends, or if you set the trends, then everyone follows. And it's also great because if you understand these cycles, you're better at predicting. So you can better position your company, I guess, for what's coming next. So what is coming next for Scale? What are you working on at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, we're working on scaling Scale. So we already have 300 projects. So the amount of projects like games, AI apps, dPIN applications, Web3 social apps, DeFi, the numbers that joins each quarter just is growing immensely. And also we're really like as a community growing, the decentralized governance is growing, but there's a huge set of people, pretty big community that really knows about Scale, and then there's a community that's known about us for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think we're excited about now kind of, I think, shifting more to like the mass forefront because we're doing mass adoption. We have so many people that use Scale every day.
Yeah.
So we're excited about the, scaling Scale in a number of different ways.
Why does focus on gaming?
Well, games are a phenomenal use case for blockchain. Okay, so like adding a transparent database, having an immutable ledger of critical things that happen, using smart contracts to when like a game action impacts money, being able to integrate these things into the gameplay really like adds value back to gamers. Having ownership of NFTs, these like you really own something, it's powerful. And then also marketplace activity, like traditional gaming, you're like, hey, like let me get on Craigslist and try to sell somebody my farm that I built up. And in blockchain, you can just, that trading and that marketplace component's built right into the game, and the game developer can actually monetize no matter where that's sold through smart contracts. So they actually have a bigger storefront. Like in fashion, if like, you have some product and then somehow it's like being taken to some other store and being, bought and sold there, like you might not get paid for it if you don't have like a connected. And here it's like, no matter no matter what the storefront is, because that royalty is built into the contract, you'll always get paid. And so you're incentivized to want to make sure you're in as many stores as possible.
Yeah, there's different layers of like, there's different ways of how the user can monetize or like interact with the crypto and just money in general. I think anything that you could put the playfulness of, with my previous guest, we were talking about the fact that there's always this fun interaction with money in crypto that you wouldn't have seen playing out in traditional finance. So what other areas in crypto do you see an opportunity to have this sort of like playfulness around?
I think one thing crypto hasn't done as well, in part because of just the legal landscape, is like adding these like fun financial components into applications. And that's because a lot of applications are afraid to tokenize. And like if you could launch more tokens in a much more, with like clear regulatory framework, you would see more kind of network bootstrapping effects happen, and having kind of more fun, playful mechanics built into applications. And I think one of the beauties of blockchain is that it can automate a lot of, you can program money around events and actions. And so you can like add, and even in gaming, I think has an opportunity to have not just like integrate NFTs with gaming and smart contracts into gaming and transparent databases, but even integrating like fun financial components that are legally compliant. I think you're going to see people more aggressively do those things as we get a clear framework to operate in.
What could people expect like next, say, I don't want to say 5 years, but like 2 years? Where is Scale heading towards?
Yeah, I mean, there are 150 games already building on Scale. And so I think that's going to be our big mark. But we also see AI as being a huge category. So there's some really great builders in AI, and some big announcements coming that we're excited about, that are all about moving the ball forward, and bringing the strengths of Scale to developers. Very developer focused. So but I think in general for our industry, there's this like pattern stick. Like we're here, like this flywheel is stuck on incentivization. And the thing is, why do you do incentivization? So I think from a go-to-market perspective. So if you're launching a new chain, you're launching a DeFi application, you're launching a game, whatever it is you're launching, people are understanding the power of using tokenization to incentivize those early users to go use things and get the airdrop points, right? But what we're failing to get is then that next step where those airdrops go away and people just keep using those products because they're so fun or so useful, okay? And so what's happening is I think we're going to see, like over the next 2 years as an industry, see the conversion. Because you almost have to think about it as like marketing ROI. And if you're putting all these tokens into an airdrop as a game or some protocol, you don't want the activity to stop when the airdrops stop and when the points stop and the incentives stop. You want to use that to actually get users. And you think about like PayPal back in, I can't even remember the year, like during the aughts, it was share PayPal with a friend, get 15 free dollars. Mm-hmm. And people are like, oh wow, I get 15 free bucks. Let me send it to my friend. I'll send it to you. And they send it to 10 friends, they get 150 bucks. Now it seems like nothing compared to the incentives that go in crypto, but that was so powerful. And it wasn't that people just got the 15 bucks and they quit using it. People use PayPal all over the place. It became like this amazing company that created many, many companies out after it through the team that was working on it. Yeah. And so that's a good example in like the past of an incentive structure that didn't stop after the initial go-to-market effort.
It's really a good perspective. For everyone watching, where can they find you?
At Jack O'Halloran on Twitter. You could also find me by going to @Skale Network, Scale with a K, SKALE Network.
Jack, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up?
But it's not something Genzio is afraid of.
If you want to survive, you got to build a hive.
How do you know we do not understand that we need not
Ladies and gentlemen.
Get back at the Genzio Media House.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today.